I'll nominate Wayne for chairman. Do I nominate two positions or,
You can.
and Pat for vice chairman? Again?
Is there any discussions? With that in mind, I am going to go ahead and say it's closed, and the vice chair will be Pat for the 2018, and the chair for 2018 will be Wayne Fry. Thank you very much.
I'm honored.
Before we move on, Mike, are you here to talk to the committee?
Yeah, it's part of Internet Citizens. So.
Okay, good, okay. Gosh, way back in November, we'd like to approve the minutes of our November 2017 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
I have one question. There's a statement that there were 30 applicants for vacant positions on the traffic team. And was that 30 for our team, or was that 30 for all the committees statewide? I mean, citywide?
Where is that?
I'm looking too. I don't remember that.
I only printed the first page.
You know, that would be a question for Trevor, so I really don't know. He's not here. Yeah, he's not here.
Because I was there when Joe and the other people came before the committee, and there was maybe only
Don't,
2 or 3 for this committee.
I don't think that's it's not this team. It's his team at the police station.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Section of the police department.
Oh, okay.
So that's,
Because they had
Oh,
a
I
big
see.
meeting here yesterday with
yeah.
Marion County
surprised about
traffic and
Okay,
everything.
yeah.
So might have been that.
Okay,
What-
I understand.
Do I hear a
Then
motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Hear a second?
Second.
I second. David beat me to it.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes of November 2017 as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstention, because Joe wasn't here.
It's a good meeting.
You give us a good meeting. At this time, we set aside time for appearance of interested citizens to talk about an agenda item or an item that is not on the current tonight's agenda. And we have Mike Jaffe coming. Are you coming as a member of the Council of Governments?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have to hit this?
I think it's already on.
Okay.
You might need
Right? Yeah, okay.
You may want to go ahead and introduce yourself, because not everybody up here knows you, Mike.
Right. So my name's Mike Jaffe. I'm with the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Government, which is in downtown Salem. I've been there with them for about 25 years. And I'm a transportation specialist. In fact, I'm the transportation director now of that organization. So for those not too familiar, one thing we do is we're a metropolitan planning area. The Salem, Keizer, Turner is a metropolitan planning area, which means we do a regional planning and we have regional funds, and we do a lot of coordination with the cities and the counties and the state. So I've been meaning to come to your group just to introduce myself informally. Maybe on a future agenda we'll have something more formal to present. But I've been going over your minutes and been interested in what you've been discussing as far as safety and pedestrian projects. And I just wanted to give you a very brief description of what we're doing now in Keizer that you might find of interest. So among the many things that we do is, well, we fund projects. So over the years, we've funded a lot of projects in Keizer. The latest being the roundabout was mostly the MPO's federal funds, the improvements on Chamala Road between River and the park was a combination of local and state and our federal funds. And we have future funds dedicated to some projects like Verda Lane is going to get an upgrade with additional sidewalks. And right now we're looking at, and I may come again next month to present something if I can get on the agenda. We're looking at our next $5 million of funds, and we're looking at a number of projects. One of them is in Keizer to do a planning study for Wheatland Road. which, as you know, is a kind of has sidewalks, doesn't have sidewalks, really needs a thorough look to see what kind of facility your city may want to have. So Nate Brown's put that in as a proposal, and that's being discussed this month and out for formal review probably at the end of this month. On the safety side, some of you know that I've been working on safety issues. That's something that is a big issue at the federal level to promote safety. We hope that a lot of our projects have safety. In fact, a lot of them do, and we have on our website, and maybe I can present it sometime in the future, a list of all the safety projects that's been going on, both the ones that we fund, but other ones that's been happening in the region just because we share a whole region. There's a lot of emphasis on safety, as you know. So we kind of keep track of that. We also keep track of all the traffic crashes in the area, and we have data on that. So kind of throw myself as a resource. We have a lot of information that your committee may at one point find useful. So I want to make myself as a resource, or our agency as a resource. And let's see, we also produced the bike map, the regional bike map.
I just handed them out.
Oh, okay.
It's got the new bridge on it.
Yeah. So, and we gave $500,000 for that new bridge. So we're supposed to look at multimodal issues. So we spread our money kind of like peanut butter, roadways, signals, signal upgrades. We're funding some of the signal upgrades on River Road eventually. I mentioned, okay, so streets, signals, bike lanes, sidewalks, safety projects, transit projects. We help fund a lot of the transit stop shelters. So in case you didn't know what an MPO is, that's, when you boil it down, we do a lot of planning, but we also do a lot of coordination and funding of projects. And we're very interested in safety and bike and pedestrian issues. In fact, another thing we're doing is we're doing a sidewalk inventory. So I think there's been various groups have been doing various projects on sidewalks. We are doing also a very comprehensive sidewalk inventory, and part of it is for reporting purposes, and part of it is to maybe help figure out where the gaps are, and as well as maybe for some HB 2017 Safe Routes to School projects. And I don't want to take all your evening, so I'll finish on one last thing. I've been talking for a while. I've been working on some initial work with Hirsch and other members in the region on trying to figure out how we can get a Safe Routes to School program set up in our area. We had some meetings, a couple of meetings all through 2017. We'll probably have more meetings in 2018 to figure out what we need to do and how we will arrange things, and if we can get a coordinator, if we can get an ODOT grant for a coordinator potentially, and then develop action plans, et cetera, for Safe Routes to Schools. So, as many of you know, there have been starts and stops in Safe Routes to Schools. Our area has, other areas have a lot more advanced Safe Routes to School programs and coordinators, and my wish is to see us also get those kind of programs for our area, especially with the money available now at the state level. So I'll stop there, because you have a full agenda, but
I just got a email about the Salem School District into the bond, and two of the projects are one of their top ones in the bond would be Cummings Elementary, which is something this committee has talked about for a year or more, even more, is the sidewalk and improvements at Cummings. And then McNary redesigning the main entrance to improve safety for pedestrian, bicyclist, bus traffic. So that's going to be in the bond, but that's also where other monies might be able to be used too.
yeah, I know Cummings, I'm aware of Cummings in their,
Oh, yeah.
their needs, so, yeah.
That's been one that I keep bringing up at every venue is Cummings.
Yeah, Cummings needed, it's not a Title I school according to the list I've seen, so it
I know.
makes it a little harder hurdle to get over to qualify for the state funds. Not impossible, but they want to prioritize Title I schools, so.
Mike, in your review of our past minutes and things like that, did you also have the write-up that Julie Yip, ODOT, and I did after we met with the principal at Cummings School? Because we came to a couple of pages with several kind of observations and recommendations around that, not, I mean, Delight Street, which runs along that, the long side of that school property is a main area of concern, but what we made a lot of other observations that would probably lead towards trying to form some kind of Safe Routes to School committee with the neighborhood and more comprehensive, and maybe the MPO would be involved also if that was the case, to try to tackle all the different sort of competing and conflicting things that are going on there.
Right. I don't know if I saw those notes, Pat.
Okay.
You're welcome to send them to me. I'd like
Yeah,
to get
sure,
them for
yeah.
my files.
What's unique about the Cummings area and why we're pushing it is everybody has come in together on it. Not a lot of times, you may get the parents association or the PTA to agree, but we have the PTA, we have the principal, we have the neighborhood association, we have Public Works, we have city council all are saying, yeah.
Right.
That's a lot of hurdles that have been done, and I know about the Title I issue, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a hurdle that in a lot of areas, you may not get the neighborhood association in agreement, or you might not get the city council. We got everybody in a row here on this one issue, and that's why we're pursuing it. And it's nice that the school district put it up as one of their top priorities for the bond, too.
Right, I think that's all helpful. Of course, right now, there's a committee going over the rulemaking. Pat probably knows
Yeah.
a lot about this. The rulemaking, we have to see how they're going to set the rules, and it's going to be competitive. And we don't have any action plans. I don't think the school has an action plan that I'm aware of.
No, that
might
was
be
part of
something.
the issue, that we thought that particular school and the complexity of the issues around it would make it a really, that the action plan would be a good next step for that area. That's what we
Right.
thought.
Okay.
Because you can say, that the neighborhood is in favor of it until you tell which people, are not going to have parking or have a one-way street or have something that's actually going to affect their property, then minds can change, so.
Like I say, in reviewing other areas, Portland keeps updating their action plans and their frameworks. So, I mean, I believe they're setting themselves up to be recipients for these funds. But I would imagine there's, the legislature wants to spread it out to all the areas of the state. That was the legislative intent. So I encourage every jurisdiction in our area to consider what they want to apply for and carefully watch what the rules say, and then jump on action plans or whatever is required to make yourself more competitive for these grants.
I mean, Safe Routes.
In my notes,
Oh.
Mike?
I mean, Safe Routes to School was one of the identified focus areas that our committee selected for ourselves last year, and it's an area where, Keizer score, we've submitted in the, bicycle-friendly community, and it was an area that we scored low in the last time, so it's something that we're trying to get a handle on one way or another, whether it's school by school or just taking an infrastructure approach to build it and then encourage them to come.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out what angles we could do to elevate that. And another one of the committee's focus areas was River Road, and so I was wondering if the MPO had any planning or other project
Well-
ideas for along the safety of River Road, both from the
Right.
traffic and bike ped perspectives.
It's not something that we're looking at right now. I would not be against working with the city. I think the city would probably want to lead with us, but we'd be happy to cooperate even on an initial look level with the data that we have, of course. But it's probably something the city would want to lead on that kind of study. I recommend that I have lots of information on safety. I've a lot of 2016, 2017, I focused on pedestrian safety. Federal Highways just came up with another guide, but I have my own 30-page dossier of reports of how things are done and maybe done the right way. City of Bend did an excellent job of looking at safety along similar corridors to River Road, and that's probably a very good model to follow. So I'm happy to share that with Pat or anyone else. Yeah, they did some really good work. They're doing more work. They have a clear direction of what they want to do. So yeah, I think if the city decides as a city to study that, I'd be more than happy to share what I know with them. I was working with the city of Salem on their pedestrian safety plan and reviewed their plan, so I can compare it to what they're doing. Anyway, and I'm interested. I'm also going to stay around to hear the House Bill 2017 project. I'm curious what that.
I'm glad
that
you
is.
said that. My next question is, are you going to be staying in the meeting for a little while? Because we do want to talk about House Bill 2017 tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to stay to listen to that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And if there's any information about House Bill 2017 that I know about, should I just raise my hand? Or?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, you're
'Cause I
probably
follow that too.
you're probably the resident expert.
Okay.
Probably have to come sit up there again.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I can talk all night.
Council liaison report.
Yes, thank you. Well, did I turn it on? Okay, I did. Can you hear me? Okay. Obviously, you know what happened in November because you were here, you had a meeting. You know, it was really slow in December and January, but the things that we have going on now as a council is we're getting ready to sign a lease agreement with a theater that's going to go in over by Chariots. You know, there's going to have to be some infrastructure on the roads being done there. Chariots has always wanted a left turn lane out of their area, so that whole intersection is going to be changed, and there'll be left turn lanes into the theater, and there'll be left turn lanes out of the Chariots and all that kind of stuff. So that area is going to change. So beyond that, that's going to happen, I think, at the same time that they're building this thing, which it is expected to be done probably later this year, like, you know, October, November. So look for that coming up. Also, we're getting ready to sign on the Little League lease, you know, to keep going at the Little League Park. Things are kicking up. You know, it's Little League registration, KYSA registration. So if you're listening tonight, you need to get on board and get your kids registered to go. And I anticipate things are going to start kicking up a little bit. And since Trevor's not here tonight, I will just let you know that we had a grant. We always get a grant every year to do DUII patrols out for safety. And this year, between December 29th and January 1st, we had 4 impaired drivers, 3 for alcohol and 1 for drug, and then gave out 25 warnings and issued 9 traffic citations. So they're still going to continue because of the Super Bowl, playoffs, you know, all that kind of stuff. So they're still going to continue to keep a watch out. But I just want to let you know the results of the grant. We usually do pretty well with that. So you guys have any questions for me? Oh, all right, awesome. I'll shut up now.
Pass this down to Wayne. You want to take over?
Wow. First I get volunteered, and then I'm already doing the job. Yeah, I thought I started next month, but
It's practice.
This is practice.
okay. Thank you, Council, for the Council Liaison report. Hirsch, can you give us an update on Keizer bike routes?
Well, I haven't ridden any. I've designed some with Ride GPS. I've given, I don't know how many in to Debbie, what, about 8 of them?
No, oh, I don't think it's that many. I think there's 3 or 4 that you
Okay, and then a couple walking ones. Did I send those walking ones? Okay, I have them all on my computer, so I've been working on, but I'd like to ride them, and I haven't had time, and the weather hasn't been stuff. But one thing that I did hand out is Salem Bicycle Club brochure, which I think the city should kind of reference their website because they have over 600 rides that are downloadable into any device and with routes, and there's a lot of Keizer rides that start in the Keizer area, ride through it. So it would be another one that, in fact, is Travel Salem is using the Salem Bike Club website for people, when the people contact them about rides, they send them to our website, and they,
So do you want the link, Hirsch, you want the link, this salembicycleclub.org?
yeah,
Okay, I can do that.
And Hirsch, have you approached the chamber to put it on the chamber also website or something? Because a lot of people will go to the chamber to find out, what do I?
No, I have not.
What's to do in Keizer, Salem, right? What's to do? And so I just wondered if you could maybe approach them and see if that's something we can set up with them
We
as a
definitely have
partnership.
it with Travel Salem. But not with the chamber. I haven't been able to get in the front door yet on bike-related stuff to the chamber, but we'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's about it.
Okay. Next item would be House Bill 2017 project. I went to a meeting about 4 months ago, and I learned that there is some money available for projects, safe routes to school, transportation, highway projects. Some of the money's already committed to other projects. What I just gave you is the text version. The text page is right from House Bill 2017, the Keep Oregon Moving bill. And under Safe Routes to School, it does, the top paragraph there, it says, provides a cash match of at least 40% of the project's cost. And that caught my eye, and I haven't really read everything yet. But what I'm hoping to do is have this committee create a project that we can plan and have it shelf ready, and then have it costed out, and then submit whatever application we need to do to see if we can qualify for some of this House Bill 2017 money. And the second page, this is statewide over the time period 2021 through 2024. For the entire state, Safe Routes to School has $37.5 million allocated. And bicycle and pedestrian, $22,200,000. And so we have projects that can be done. I'd actually like to see if we can come up with a project soon, possibly tonight, and then further define that project to see if we can qualify for some of these available funding.
What are specific dates, like that grants information has to be in and stuff? Do you have
I
all
think they're just starting to work on the rulemaking for this.
Oh, they are?
That's kind of what I do, is just sort of got my name on the notification list so that we'd know when it's time to comment on
Yeah, there's still.
the rules, on the process.
The lady that was at the meeting that you and I were at council government, didn't she say by this summer they think they might have it written?
Oh, that's right, Mike can share, yes.
Yeah, and probably the best thing to do is what Pat did. They have to rewrite the rules. There were some state rules about how these funds will be set up and the criteria, et cetera. So they're going to have to rewrite the rules because HB 2017 changed the program a bit. Especially, it changed it from a federal to a state. So to know the latest, probably you can sign up and you get notifications of
I did see the
committee.
notification, and I think there's already been a steering committee of some kind that's met, and I was not, December meeting I was not able to attend, so I guess we need to kind of keep up on those and start sitting in on those meetings. I think, Wayne, that's what you or I or both of us can do, just so we see kind of what direction they're starting to go with it.
Right, so this rules committee that's led by ODOT staff, will develop a set of rules, and eventually they'll come to the Oregon Transportation Commission to, say, here are our recommended rules, and then they'll have a public hearing and they'll adopt some rules. And there'll be some important things to look at to see if, is a portion of those funds going to be dedicated just on the state system? Because that was something that was proposed early, before even the committee began their work. So it'll be very important how the rules are written, and then once the rules are set, the staff will probably start a process of figuring out when applications will be available and the deadlines for submittal and all the things that follow the rules as far as matching and et cetera.
I have a question. When we talk match, we're talking about the city matching the state on this, correct?
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the rules say.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
in terms of, excuse me,
Generally.
from where we're sitting, what we're talking about is the city of Keizer.
Right, I think that's going to be a very serious issue to keep a look at, because it's usually hard for a city to even make 10 or 20% match. And so if it actually is 40%, that's going to be something that the city council and the public works and everybody is really going to have to see as a high priority to put a large investment of city money as leverage towards a larger amount of this money.
That's part of it. The other part, when do we start budget? March? May.
If we read down,
But the city starts putting right now, they're putting the budget together now. And so, I'm not sure what the timeline is
This is-
on this, but if you expected to, even if you match $100, you're talking about 2019.
This is 2021, though.
Is that how far down the line we are? So, okay. Be nice if the budget committee, oh, well, I could always bring it.
Well, it'd be nice to.
Well, they should know that
feel
it's
about it,
coming.
That it's coming, but at the meeting we were at, there was a lot of confusion about the rule making. I think the city of Salem was, well, we'll wait to see what the rules are. I don't know if that's a good approach or not, but
It may,
it's completely correct that we're, everybody is in their budget makeup now. It's a new year, and the hearings will start in May and June.
so that might be, Wayne, that might be the issue for our committee, is to try to kind of figure out how much match money, kind of a placeholder, do we want to request that the city to hold for these areas, either the bike and ped or the safe routes to school, and then based on how much city matching funds we can get, then we can craft what size of a project that can support, and figure out what the high, in other words, if,
so you're looking at the dollars first rather than defining the project.
well, I mean, we could,
No?
we can define a project, but typically the way things go, the ones that are going to compete the best are the ones that are already high-level projects in some kind of a planning system. So I think if the city's involved in the transportation system plan, that will generate some projects that we could choose from. I think it's very interesting, the sidewalk inventory that Mike Jaffe spoke of that's being done on the metropolitan level. If we have the results of that and can then say, oh, here was an inventory, a planning effort that was done, and we want to take this to the next step by building some of these most critical missing pieces.
Makes more
That-
sense. Sounds good.
That's, in my experience, those are normally the things that get a little bit of a head start out the gate, because they've already been through a public process at some point,
Okay.
and then we'd want to take it the next step.
Mike, we've recently done walking routes to school in Keizer for 7 elementaries and 2 middle schools and 1 high school. There's about 60 routes for each school, and the way that was done is the starting street, I noted whether or not that street had a sidewalk on it, so I might be able to contribute to your sidewalk inventory. Not every 1/10 of a mile, but
But it also,
in general, does the street have a sidewalk?
it also will help with safe routes. We're not calling it safe routes to school, but it's on our website, the city's website, and it's walking routes to schools. And we've done them for all the schools in Keizer, and it's on the city's website, so,
I think I did look at it,
yeah.
just took an example, because there's lots of them.
There's about 60 routes per school, north, south, east, and west, and then
There is, a
whatever your starting street is.
couple years ago, a grant was provided, and someone, I only learned about it 3 months ago, someone did a sidewalk inventory where, and I could share the web link to the map, and it's a pretty accurate map that says, here's a street, and either there's no sidewalks, or there's a sidewalk on one side or both sides. That's a pretty good snapshot. You can't do much analysis with it, but it's a visual snapshot. So I don't know who to send that to, but
Okay.
I can send it.
Debbie, you have,
You can send it to me, I'll give you my card,
All right,
and you can send it to me and I'll send it to them.
okay.
Debbie, you've got an older sidewalk inventory from about 2005 or something.
Yeah, and we're working with Keizer's inventory. They shared their inventory from years ago, and that's what we're updating internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes.
I just wanted to remind the committee that when you do decide on a project, before you do very much, it's really important that you go to council and get approval first, rather than spending a lot of time and effort. It may not be something council wants you to do. So that's happened before. So I would really strongly urge you to go to council and keep them in the loop regularly.
Example was our last, with the bike rack. We went to council to get their approval to proceed and such. And they were all for it,
Yeah.
of course.
But I would think what do we do tonight to set this process in motion? I mean, one thing would be maybe to look at some of these existing, talk to the public works people, what do they kind of have on their wish list, and see where that overlaps with the highest concerns of this committee. Look at some of those planning documents and inventory, and also the work that you did, Wayne, with those walking routes to school, and if we can, I would think maybe come to first at Public Works and then at City Council with a list of several things and say, here's what we think is 10 of the top priorities around town. Which ones of these do they also support us fleshing out into a competitive project?
Okay, that's a great idea for some resources and some ideas of projects that we could do.
The Parks Board also probably, and the Parks
Parks.
staff, because some projects that our group may be interested in may cross through the
Maybe.
parks.
If we do it right, we could combine a parks and a school
Exactly.
project, perhaps.
Yeah, I can get together with Bill and we can come up with a list of priorities, what his visions are and what we see, and then I can come back with that, and then we can say, okay, let's prioritize these and go from there. That kind of just gives us a good bearing, a good start. And
Be sure to
That'll
let
work.
him know that the school district put Cummings in their bond. I don't know if he got the word on that, because I just got that Thursday.
Send him that.
Okay, okay.
And Mike, will your list then have a sort of a ballpark level price tag for the projects also? Possibly. Okay.
It's a big ballpark.
We provide you a cocktail napkin you can write on it? Yes.
I was also hoping this group might have a few ideas. You mentioned neighborhood interconnectivity at one
I
time.
have mentioned that in the past, yes.
Do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Well, I guess Keizer was developed by probably separate developers over, at different times, and so it sometimes is difficult to walk from one neighborhood to the next, and so that was my thought of where do we have places where we could improve, like we have on Willamette Drive and a couple other places where there is a place where people can walk and bike through even though they can't drive through. So if we have other areas that staff or our committee members can identify, that would be helpful. And that would be part, I think, also of the transportation system plan, improvements for biking and walking. One thing on my personal list would be a paved path through Claggett Park, connecting from Shamawa to Dearborn because it's, if you try to ride, I mean, there is a street, I think 12th or 13th Street, a block over, but many people would maybe want to just ride directly, a direct connection in that park,
To connect Dearborn and,
and Chamawa, on the west side of that park.
Yeah,
I have
the
a-
east side is wetlands.
Hey, Mike, I guess I could, you might know off the top of your head. Where's the western city limits that parallels Wheatland Road? There's a big bluff and there's houses on the top, but where's the actual city limits? Is it Claggett Creek? Or is it the last house before you get to Claggett Creek? I just wondered if you knew
I'm not sure.
because if I suggested, for example, well, there's a path that runs all along the base of the bluff, all the way to McNary Golf Course. But I don't even know if it's in the city of Keizer,
There's sections there that aren't.
of which is, I just wondered if you knew offhand.
Some of that's county.
Well, it's underwater right now.
One other idea I would suggest, and I guess this would tie into what the Chariots folks are doing, and maybe some of the other planning and inventory efforts, would be to look at making sure that there's sidewalks to the bus stops. Which ones have good access from the neighborhood to the bus stop, and which ones have sidewalks in bad condition or non-existent.
And to add to that one may have even higher merit in that with the funding from the transportation bill, Salem Keizer Transit will be able to have enough money for year after next to have weekend services. And extend the hours too.
okay.
Yeah, just part of making it more convenient and attractive to use our bus service.
We can go to the movie house
Yeah.
on the bus.
That's right, movie house within walking distance of the transit center.
Yes,
Make sure there's a crosswalk between,
they will.
since there's a signal gonna be there.
Yeah.
Other ideas of projects that we might want to consider? Anyone else?
Well,
Or
the big one from
Cummings?
Safe Roads is Cummings for me.
Coming, is that right?
For the road one. One that we've talked about that's not really like as much of a construction project would be the wayfinding sign along the scenic bike route or other major, I think we identified like the commuting routes, but how do we put in some destination signing
And where, yeah.
where it belongs? I mean, we've done a little bit of work already on where those sign locations might be, but it would be a more complete project, figuring out how many signs and exactly where they are and whose property it is. Is it public or private property, and what the sign needs to say and all that stuff.
ODOT, county, city.
Hirsch, how would you, what would your idea be for Cummings?
Well, for Cummings is to really partner more, because the issue that we saw at Cummings was not just Cummings Elementary. It was also McNary High School, because McNary students are using Cummings as a Delight as a way of getting into school from the neighborhoods. So just improving that whole Delight area, not just, the school district is talking about a sidewalk on that east side of Cummings. Well, if you go farther on down Delight, there's no sidewalks. And it clearly is an access. Now, they mentioned improvement at McNary's main entrance. Well, that's Delight on the other side, and sidewalks and improvements all the way through, not just for Cummings.
Okay, so all the way down to McNary.
Because if you go over there during the school hours of morning, coming in and whatever, you will see kids walking on Delight. And because of the gravel and stuff, they're out.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous. And also there's a pickup there on Chemawa for Whitaker and Claggett. So Delight is the whole project. I'm kind of calling it the Cummings project.
All the way
but-
from Chemawa to Cummings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that whole area, it serves several major residential areas. Palmacia, basically all of West Keizer.
Okay. Joe, you're new to this group. Welcome. Any ideas for something that we might want to do for a Keep Oregon Moving project, House Bill 2017, where we can acquire some of that funding? Okay, next month.
Southeast Keizer.
Debbie,
area.
yes?
Since I do the notes for the Parks Board, I know that they have been considering, for quite a long time, they've wanted to improve Northview Park. There's an opportunity there to have a pathway that would connect neighborhoods and parks all the way, because it's a linear sort of park. I really don't know the boundaries of that park, but that might be something that the committee could look into.
Where? Refresh my memory.
Northview is up behind the old Albertsons, up behind the Winco. That's where the entrance is, and then it goes down. Is that right, Mikey? Do you know?
I think, yeah, it's
Okay.
just an unimproved.
It's
It's
an
un-
unimproved, it's
Yeah.
a wild.
Richard Walsh talked about doing that
Yes,
a couple years ago. And
talked about it for many years.
years, yeah. I didn't want to make Richard sound old.
So
And
this
that's
would
it.
be a pathway or something?
Yeah, bike ped path.
And see, that would possibly tie into the suggestion. Connectivity with Claggett,
So that's from Lock Haven going south to,
Chemawa.
Yeah, I think it goes all the way to Chemawa. but I'm
really?
not
Yeah, you can
exact-
get all the way,
It does? Okay.
I think.
Because there's that place that has the cows or the horses. I don't know if that belongs to anybody or I don't know how that works.
Well,
That's underwater too.
well,
I don't think we can get through there.
yeah.
That's all underwater.
and then if you go onto the other side, then that's
Floodplain or something.
flip, but it's ideas to look at. And I'm
Okay. Well, we've got some good ideas. I'll create a list, or Debbie, you can if you want, or,
I have sort of a list, but we can work together.
okay. And then we'll try to figure out what we want to do to make Keizer better. And letting the government pay for it.
Right.
Well, okay, we'll probably have to cut, whatever we do, we're going to have to come up with probably some type of matching funds, so we just keep that in mind. Let's do committee member report. Pat, do you have anything?
No, I guess I don't have anything other than I will try to stay informed with that Safe Routes to School Rules Committee, so that, and if I can't go to, when they're meeting, and if I can't go, so maybe one of our other members here can,
I believe there's a
sit on
meeting
those
on the
lists.
14th.
okay.
I'm not sure about that.
January 14th?
Yes.
That does sound familiar, yeah. so-
Don't know exactly where or time, but. So are you attending the Rules Committee advisory?
I haven't been to any of them yet. Yeah, I've had conflicts so far, and so I'll check this one and see.
Okay.
I may be able to do the afternoon part, maybe someone can cover the morning.
David?
Oh, well, maybe for Joe. Joe, hi. I was going to tell you, just since it's the beginning of the year, I did an inventory. I went down, actually counted what was there rather than use, good thing I did. We have about 106 helmets left, and it runs like this: 32 small, 30 medium, 22 large. It's really weird. Sometimes when you're doing a session and you're fitting people, all of a sudden everybody comes through, took large helmets. The next time we could lose all the smalls in one, one. Anyway, so, and then we have 10 extra large all sport helmets, the ones that look like,
The skate helmets.
looks like skater helmets, and they're green this time. And a couple extra large, so sometime during the year, we'll probably have to order, 25, 24 large, and then some small and medium, and that's probably about all we need. Somewhere in ancient history, this committee acquired a couple $1,000. Might have been more at one time, might have been less. And we were getting state grants through, we applied and won
Traffic
some
safety.
grants. And their grants always were, yeah, go ahead and spend the money, we'll reimburse you later.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Which is fine. And so the bicycle committee in the city got together and some people donated money and we got going. I wasn't around, that was many years ago. So I remember at one time we had around $2,200, then we spent it on something. Helmets probably and some other stuff. We buy the helmets for about $7 or $8 and we sell them for $5. We don't sell them. We take a $5 donation. Okay. So when we sell a helmet, we lose a couple bucks. But, so if we sell, say, 60 helmets in the spring, we'll actually generate $300, which we could turn around and buy 40 more helmets. So it's a very slow loss process. And then the Salem Bike Club gave us $300. That was the only donation I think we got last year. So,
How long ago was the $5 price set? Should it be $10 or something now, or not?
No,
Would that make it,
well, I don't,
You don't-
it
a
seems to
difference in
be,
I think it was set, about 4 or 5 years ago?
oh, no, way before that. It was
Okay.
when I first got on the committee, so it'd be 2004.
When we started the program in '97, we were giving away the helmets.
that's correct.
And we felt good at that time till we started seeing abuse. And the police were giving us some good feedback that, oh, we're having kids come back and grab a helmet almost every other day. And then we started seeing some on Craigslist
Goodwill.
and stuff. So, the $5 has I won't say eliminated it, but it reduced it. But we still give
We also-
free for emergent needs.
Well,
Right.
so those of us, we've all done it.
Yeah.
You and I have done it a lot more than
Yeah.
anybody else, but that's probably because we do it more often. And yeah, somebody comes up with a family, they've got 6 kids, and they're going through their kids' pockets looking for quarters, trying to come up with, so they could buy 3 bike helmets. And yeah, we sell them 6 for $6 or something, whatever they've got. We take all the money they've got, give all the kids helmet and the dad if he wants one, So it's flexible.
Yeah.
But then you do it on your judgment. And then we get them sometimes, we got a donation from Chariots for like 100 bike helmets. And the only thing was, we could only give them to people who were low income.
How do you know?
Isn't that nice? That's what the rules was. So I forgot, Kurt made up a little form. It says, I don't have much money. I'm below, like 100% of the poverty, whatever. We had an amount on there. And I swear that's how much I make. And so we just put a big stack of those on the table, and if anybody was willing to sign it, we'd give them a helmet. But we were given the helmets from Chariots to begin with. And we went through 100 helmets that day, by 2 o'clock or something, like.
That was the Riverfest.
Riverfest,
Yeah.
yeah. But, you know, we didn't find them in the forest, and there's kids all over town I see riding with those helmets, so. And some people came up and gave us money anyway, so.
Yeah, we've gotten some individual donations. We should maybe think about, maybe not at this meeting, but maybe next meeting, some events. Because we used to do bike skills fair, but we haven't done it for a couple years.
Right. And we have the other thing.
We got all the
Yeah.
tools and stuff to
Yes.
do it, so.
Yeah, we have a canopy, sun canopy, rain canopy, and 3 bikes, nice bikes.
And those bikes came in,
A long time, no, when you were there.
yeah, I think so, but those bikes came in so handy for the CERT team during the
Oh,
eclipse.
yeah.
They just said, please can we continue to have those bikes for emergency or other services? Why not?
Yeah, so we have them, they can use them.
Mhm.
We can't give away it belongs to the city of Keizer, so you can't give it away and you can't sell it. And all that. We will need these wonderful bicycle maps.
I got a case of 400.
And then we have the state, the laws regarding how to ride your bike and all that stuff, so. We hand those out all the time. We do about 3 events a year, so. That brings everybody up to date, I think. We have vests and stop signs and little cones. We haven't used them lately.
Yeah, and in my garage is little stop signs, and actually 3 bikes that, part of a Safe Routes to School grant that we got for, and those bikes got training wheels on for kids that can't ride, so.
And we have, Salem Bike Club has all the bikes, right?
No, the Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club has all the bikes now.
And we have access to
Yes,
them.
a trailer full of bikes.
Can I ask a question? So I know that when my youngest was like in 4 years old or kindergarten, there used to be a summer program of teaching safety, pedestrian and bicycle safety to these children, how to cross the street, how to, stop at the stop sign with your bike and all this. They don't do that anymore, do they?
You're talking about Safety Town.
Yes, that's it, thank you.
The Salem School District did that for years.
Yeah.
And it used to be at Cummings,
Right.
schools. No, it was eliminated. The only thing we have going in the summer is through the Boys and Girls Club, the Wild Wild Rec program. We do a bike module for 2 days.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if there was something that we could do.
Well,
The Safety Town program would require a budget.
about 6 years ago, I worked with the Boys and Girls Club in the summer. And when they were having, they had a truck they were driving around. But what's that little park down by, what's the northmost park in the city?
Country Club.
Way over
Meadows.
there.
Or
Probably a little
no,
teeny
Meadows.
Meadows.
Yeah.
Oh, no, or
but
Bear
anyway,
Park.
They were only there like
Bear.
once a week or twice a week. And so I met them down there and we went over the safety with but about 5 or 6 kids showed up. We went over the safety rules. That's pretty much part of it.
That's basically what we do with the Wild Wild Rec program. We're at Bob Nelson Park and for 2 days, and we
Yeah.
do a bike skills fair because we have all the equipment,
Yeah.
and then we go over the rules of the road.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
okay.
if we're diverging from
No.
his update, but I don't know, do we have on our website kind of a listings if a parent wants to look up what are their opportunities for bicycle or pedestrian training for their kids, whether it's at Boys and Girls Club or Northwest Hub or whatever?
Depends what
Well,
we can discuss it next week,
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
month.
next
Yeah.
time?
Decide what
Okay.
we want to do this summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure, Wild Wild Rec will have
Anyway,
that
Joe, that's what
twice.
we're not totally broke. We still have, and we have about $800-900 left in the account. That goes up and down, and it's the city's money. It always shows up at budget and somebody brings it up. Where did that $700 come? Where'd it go? Why are you giving that money to that one committee? It's, well, actually, it's carryover,
Yeah,
from year to year. So.
we generate it.
They do a good job of keeping track of it for us. Very nice. I really appreciate it. So.
Hirsch, can I get a committee update from you, or a member update?
Member update. Monster Cookie planning, April 29th. Mike, April 29th. And we're, again, planning for 12 to 1,500 riders for that on April. So we started the planning, and we'll be doing all that work. As far as the food service, again, will be very local. Easy Orchards, the Cookie Baron, and catering, all here for the lunch. So on the 17th, I will be attending an ODOT traffic safety seminar at the traffic safety. It's again on safe routes to school, and I have talked with, but I haven't met the new Julie yet, and she will be at that event.
Okay.
And I will, it's mostly on pedestrian and bicycling, so it's kind of their planning meeting, so I've been asked to attend that since we're one of the local bicycle safety instructors, and safe routes to school instructors. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, one of the bike safety instructors, so that's about it for now.
Thank you, Hirsch. Joe, anything to report?
Not to report, but I did come up with a couple of questions. David reminded me, when we had last Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association, I was asked to get, if it's possible, a poster or something that has to do, talking about the helmet program and anything about bike rodeos or anything traffic safety for Claggett. They'd like to know where they can get more information and post it for the parents or for the kids.
Gosh, we could go there.
We could go. I could show up and talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I have, I really don't have anything outside of, the word helmet, and that was.
Yeah. I may have a whole bunch of stuff after this meeting on the 17th, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Because when Julie left from retired, she gave us, or gave me for this committee, all the stuff she had, and we used it at all of our events this last year. So we were almost down to zero as far as handouts and things. So I should be getting a new supply. We got the new maps.
Right.
We just got those from, thanks, Mike. And we'll have a lot of those things, so.
Okay.
So
I'll let you know what I have, and we can work with Claggett or any of the schools.
well, would you want with the neighborhood association?
Yes.
Okay. You
Okay.
just let me know when you want me.
Okay.
That was my old neighborhood association.
And I have another question that came up from other discussion that was here earlier is, at the neighborhood association, there was discussion of, apparently at some point in the past, there was talk of a Claggett Creek path that would go, sounded like the entire length of Claggett Creek through Keizer or something to that effect, and that it somehow died on the vine, even though it had everyone's support. And wondering if you know anything of that, or anyone here knows anything about that?
The only thing I knew about on that particular, because living in that area, was there was a proposal, again, for a bike pedestrian multipath along where Claggett Elementary is, all the way along, but it would take frontage.
Claggett Middle School.
Middle school.
And some of it would be underwater.
Yeah, and there was a lot of public, shouldn't say public, they were property owners discontent with the project.
Okay, so,
That's all I have.
so there is no path there at this point.
No.
Okay.
And it's not part of the, any current plan? Is there a strip of public property that whole?
Well, it's,
Distance though, or not?
the waterway.
Yeah,
Oh, it's private?
all of it, yeah.
Oh, okay,
And that was the major opposition.
sure.
In the month of November, I watched a webinar about protected bikeways, which was really interesting. And then I done a little tiny bit of research on House Bill 2017. We've already talked about that tonight. And we want to move forward on that. I see that as something that should come from this group, or the ideas or the interfacing with the other committees, where we can get a good idea, where we can get a project, we can fully define that project, and then submit it to wherever we need to submit it to. I don't even know yet. So I want to focus on that Keep Oregon Moving, House Bill 2017. You have a new member, Isaac. Welcome. You're from McNary, I guess? Okay, and you're our council liaison. Welcome. Mike, let's have a public.
Thank you. Let's see, our stormwater crew just finished up catch basin inspections a couple months ago, and from those inspections, a report comes up and we go around the town cleaning inspections. So there's a threshold that anything 6 inches or above gets put on a list that we end up going back and cleaning. So our VACCON was out cleaning all those the last month or so. So that got things ready, and for the rain, that's been held off for a while, but it's here now. So that's where we're at with stormwater. And for a street report, every year we pick an area and add ADA ramps at certain intersections, and right now it's come up again, so we are picking what area to do. So that's a little street report. So other than that, everything's going good.
When you do these ADA ramps, does it have to be an existing sidewalk?
Yeah.
Okay. We can't just get a sidewalk on Delight Street and put in an ADA ramp?
No, sorry, Wayne.
Good
No,
idea, though.
we look at neighborhoods that currently don't have them, and that's where we start. So kind of started quite a few years ago, and we started on the west side of River Road, south end of the town, and we're kind of working our way north. So we kind of bounce around sometimes, but yeah, it's each year there's a chunk of money put away, and we knock it off. So yeah,
Ongoing maintenance.
Yep.
Yep. Not all at once and planned ahead of time.
exactly.
Very good.
So, thank you.
No police report tonight?
I gave his already.
Oh, yes, you did. Isaac, do you have anything? You're our committee liaison report. Do you have anything you'd like to mention or bring to our attention?
Usually what the committee liaison does, the youth liaison, is tells this committee about stuff that's going on at McNair.
Okay, well, welcome. And we have talked about McNary quite a bit, about traffic and parking,
I was gonna,
and we do have some conversations going on regarding that.
Right, and I was going to mention that on my report, and I'm totally sorry, so I'll add to it really quick. We had another neighbor in again last council meeting, and this time he's the one that lives on MacArthur Court, and his fence was graffitied.
Oh.
His house, the side of his house, graffitied. So trash everywhere and litter. They're still coming and complaining about the traffic and the drop off and the kids walking. There's no sidewalks there. It's dark. There are no street lights. Talk about a dangerous street. That's a dangerous street from Lock Haven to on Newburgh, from Lock Haven to MacArthur. It's dark. And at this time of day, I mean, in the morning when they go to school, it's pitch black and there are no street lights. And these kids wear dark clothing. And they're on skateboards or whatever. So, and there's traffic constantly because they drop kids off there, you know. So that has been an issue that we're just been trying to deal with, and the chief is dealing with. And you know, we talked about streetlights, but that's a street lighting district the neighbors would all have to agree to. And so, you know, and same with sidewalks. I mean, so that's a big issue that and I'm sure we'll still continue to talk about it. So. Just want to let you know we're still talking about it.
And probably come
Yep.
to this committee too this next year.
Well, Isaac, another issue at the school, maybe you would take a look at, is the bicycle parking. I mean, I noticed it last spring because I was hosting a foreign exchange student, and he was riding my bike to school, and I was seeing that bike being locked to a very, just really a little kid's bike rack. They're a
That was
bad
the s-
style, they're a bad style, and the location is
That bike,
not that great, and so,
that bike rack is the same one that was there when I went to McNary back in 1972.
so I did point that out, discussed it briefly with, I think, an assistant principal. I'd have to look at my notes
And
and
that would
remember that
definitely be
name.
an Eagle project.
That could be a senior project or an Eagle project or
Well,
something like that to get, just a little concrete pad poured there and the modern style bike racks. So you have some comment on that, I guess, huh?
Well,
Because you can't even use a U-lock on those
no,
racks,
no,
right?
it's,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
So I think
To
we'd
give you
be-
an FYI, another school that was having similar problems, South Salem High School, last year, worked with the technical school, the CET school, and they designed and built a bike rack that one of the local bike shop and some others helped pay for. So.
And I think
it-
I suggested
big-
that at the time to that assistant principal to collaborate with C-Tech, and I didn't get a chance yet. I mean, I should make a point of going over and looking and see what they did at South Salem High School, because I thought, from the sound of it, it sounded
No.
like a good solution for McNary as well.
Principal, the current principal told me that the vice principal that you talked to, now is the head of the tech program.
Oh, okay,
So
maybe
Yeah.
better yet.
maybe even better yet,
Yeah.
because it is a terrible rack. It's in the mud. So there's a project.
There's your assignment.
Here's a project. And there is possible funding for it from private groups and stuff. I could think about the Bike Club, Rotary, Kiwanis, the Parents Club, all might be able, because the project is not big money.
What's the bond gonna do? Is the bond gonna do anything to the front of the infrastructure of McNary at all?
It doesn't sound like it. It's
Okay,
more.
because I'm just wondering if we need to talk to Jesperson first to see if the bond passes, if anything would happen to the frontage first before he went and did a lot of legwork and homework.
But if the bike rack stayed in its current location, but just greatly improved,
Right,
it would be fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, you could consider that also, the location of it, though. I mean, the best location is where somebody can see it out their office window or classroom window or something like that, which I don't think they can from that particular location, but I don't know, since I'm not familiar with the school ground in depth, I don't know if there would be a better location for visibility standpoint. Yeah.
Okay, anything else today? Mike, anything else that you'd like to share, or? I would. Thank you for coming.
So while you were all discussing, I went to the ODOT webpage about the rulemaking committee. You learn a lot. I think they're on their third or fourth meeting. Everything is posted. And I can tell just from the meeting that they are setting up for this coming, I think it's the 16th, I forget the exact date.
14th?
They are already determining what are the criteria. There's a matrix that I have on my screen here, and they're determining what are the important factors for how applications will eventually be judged. And I can tell you several things stand out. One, you have to have your projects in some kind of plan, either your transportation system plan or a safe routes to school action plan. And my concern is that, as I mentioned before, lots of other areas, Portland, Corvallis, Eugene, they have these action plans. I go to the Portland area, they have these amazing action plans that not only specify what they're doing to encourage kids to walk to school, but all the infrastructure projects they'd like to have done. So they are way ahead of our area as far as saying, here are the projects, and here's the action plan, and here's what we need. And I think that's going to be a critical component when there's a committee going to judge whose project are we going to get, and they're going to say, well, Here in Salem Keizer, gee, they don't have in their TSPs, they don't have action plans, they don't have community support yet. They're not really ready. So the sooner you jump on this, the better to make yourself competitive. And we'll have to see what years we're talking about, because I'm not really clear exactly when the applications are and when the money's available. You're probably right, the first money might be not available till 21, but the process for the applications I'm guessing is probably going to start sometime in 2018 here. It might be in the fall, and it might take 4 or 6 months to make decisions, but that first tranche of projects will probably go through, and those areas that are most prepared and have the most compelling projects for safety in planning areas, et cetera, and there's a lot of detail here, so I encourage you, Wayne, to look at the materials from this committee. It's an eye-opener of where things are going. It'll give you a good idea of what you need to do, and I'm happy to help you figure this out if it's at all like, what's going on here? Because I've seen this process over and over again through the state many times, so it's not a mystery to me how this is going.
I'm really glad you're here and appreciate your help and look forward to working with you.
Sure.
And it's my first time doing all this. So I'm going to appreciate your experience. Okay, with that, we're adjourned at 7:12.
Good job.
There. Did he get it?